Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Bow and Arrow Tarot and today's Love Tarot Outlook for the first of the signs, the sign of Aries. So, we're going to go ahead and get right into a love connection outlook into a relationship that Aries has with someone special in their life and to see what energies are around this relationship. We're going to take a look at your cards, your person's cards, and we're going to take a deep dive with clarifiers and oracle cards. So, without further ado, Aries, let's go ahead and get right into your reading. So, you come in with Five of Swords energy, strife, worrying, bickering, perhaps. Your person comes in with Four of Cups. How do you see them? You see them as a King of Pentacles and they see you as a Seven of Wands. How do you see the relationship? You have a Nine of Swords for the relationship, a lot of regret and worry for them, the Tower. Wow. And what is the next step or final outcome in this phase of the relationship? We have the Hierophant, and for your person, Judgment. Okay. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Empress. Empress energy associated with, of course, the mother, the great mother, the divine feminine. We're talking about creativity. It can sometimes indicate motherhood, starting a new project, starting a new creative endeavor. But we're going to get back to the Empress and that bottom card, Aries. Right away, we're talking about a relationship that has had a lot of turmoil, a lot of ups and downs, right? So let's go ahead and just start off with your energy and your person. How are you both coming into this next period? Five of Swords and Four of Cups. Yeah, you guys have been fighting. You've been bickering and arguing, perhaps. Someone is not responding to the calls. There may be like a bit of the cold shoulder freezing you out, or you're freezing them out. It feels very, Four of Cups energy. It almost feels like you, and as before we go along, you and your person right now are on the outs. What can I say? And for you, it's a headache. Five of Swords, it's been like a real headache. Let's go ahead and begin to take a look at the clarifiers. With your person coming in with that Four of Cups, it may even be that they're just not responding the way that you want them to. Four of Cups energy is very much a feeling of, not giving energy, not responding, ignoring, perhaps, and it could be vindictive. But let's go ahead and see what the clarifiers. First of all, too many cards flipped over. I want to know about that Five of Swords. What is the nature of this bickering and this headache that is clearly there for you? Justice energy might be involving court cases. Your person, Three of Swords, there it is. Yeah, divorce, court cases, mediation. Yeah, they feel betrayed. Somewhere along the line, your person feels betrayed. Three of Swords energy is definitely a deep, deep betrayal. So recently, with that Justice coming in, Justice is also the card for Libra. Aries, it feels like this particular connection that you're in, you're kind of dealing with the fallout, right? Your person feels really, really betrayed, as I said. And so they're not responding the way they used to. They're not giving energy to you, perhaps the way you're used to them giving energy to you. And right now you're having to deal with a lot of, the karmic blowback as well. Listen, justice is all about sort of rebalancing. When we talk about bringing justice to an unjust situation, we're talking about rebalancing a situation, right? That's why we see the scales. Justice is also the card for Libra. Some of you might be dealing with a Libra. But then that Three of Swords energy there, look at that. That bleeding heart. Like, it is betrayal. And it's a hurt piece, right? And so you are dealing with the fallout for that. Now, let's move on a little bit and see, how do you guys see each other? This is where it gets a little bit interesting. Like, you see them as a King of Pentacles and they see you as a Seven of Wands. It's almost like the two of you, the betrayal in a way seems almost like it's tied in pride to a certain degree. You know, Seven of Wands energy, for them to see you like that is very principled. Seven of Wands is someone who really, really fights for what they want. They fight for their little piece of the world and for what they believe in, right? Seven of Wands energy is very kind of like, look, I'm going to fight for mine. I'm going to fight for what I believe in. I'm going to fight for my outlook, my stance, right? And oftentimes that can be kind of a solitary island that you're kind of fighting for, that you're being very obstinate. Your person sees you as that, maybe even an over idealist, right? Unwilling to budge, unwilling to compromise. Now, you seeing them as a King of Pentacles, you might be dealing with someone who for a long time had the money in the relationship. They may be someone who's very affluent. Let's go ahead and get into the clarifiers. They may be someone, you know, who is used to kind of being in charge certainly of the finances, the security, the money, right? King of Pentacles energy. You know, that can also be an individual, Aries, who can be quite domineering sometimes, right? So you see them as this kind of person. It could very well be that there's been there's a feeling here that I have of a disruption in the power dynamic. Let me see some more on that King of Pentacles. Happiness. Wow. Ten of Pentacles. Wealthy. Listen, some of you are dealing with someone, this person has a lot of money. You know, King of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles, they have a lot of cash. Knight of Cups. Wow. Yeah, this may have been, listen, somewhere along the line, there is definitely, I want to say, an imbalance. Justice coming in, rebalancing has to happen. But there is an imbalance here, certainly in terms of the have and the have not. It feels very much like one person in this relationship is extremely well off, while the other person is not necessarily well off. And I don't know, it could be vice versa, Aries, but it almost feels as well like, you know, this betrayal that they are feeling and this kind of bickering that you've had to go through, they're kind of turning their back. This almost feels like, you know, the well dried up. Let me put it to you like this. There may have been a scenario, Aries, where you did something to this individual and they decided, okay, well, guess what? I'm going to, you know, no more money. I'm going to take you to court. You know, I'm going to put you through a lot of headaches that I know you can't really, or you don't really want to deal with. You certainly, you know, the imbalance in terms of finances here and, you know, security and affluence. And you know what I'm saying? Is like, you know, you're feeling it now. The headache is coming onto you. And this is it. This person is using kind of that imbalance, that one up that they have in terms of their status, their money, their security, to kind of put you through the ringer because of something that went down. Something that went down that really hurt their heart, where they really felt very much like, wow, you betrayed me. Mm-hmm. And still they see you as an idealist, and they see you as sort of Nine of Cups energy. They still see you very much as a Don Juan or a, you know, whatever the female version is of that, a siren, right? You have certainly a certain sex appeal, a certain attraction for this person. There may even be an age gap. They may be a little bit older than you, Aries. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how do you see the relationship? Let's move on to that. Sorry for bumping into my microphone and it's wobbling everywhere. How do you guys see the relationship? Well, here it gets really, really interesting. Again, Nine of Swords for you in the Tower. For you, there's like a regret here. Like, oh man, what did I get myself into? You know, it's almost like this is a headache you just did not want. Right? Nine of Swords, Tower energy for them. They see this relationship as something extremely divine, something that's really kind of turned their life upside down. You know, it feels to me, Aries, like it may have even been a bit of a whirlwind. What fell out? Yep, as the world comes out. It almost feels like a little bit of a whirlwind relationship. It definitely feels, for some of you, please sound off in the comments. I'm so curious. If this is your reading, Aries, is there an age gap? Is there a sort of status gap right here, or imbalance rather, right? It does feel, with this Nine of Swords coming in for you, Aries, it feels kind of like you regret. There's a feeling of regret, like, what did I get myself into with this individual, right? World energy is there. There's a completion here showing up. It does feel very much like this relationship kind of was meant to happen to you in a way, or was meant to be, was meant to come in, but not necessarily because it was meant to be, because the two of you are soulmates, but almost like with justice, rebalancing, the world coming in, Aries, it almost feels as though, like, you know in your heart of hearts that this has been coming for a long time. King of Swords, honesty, control. Control. Yeah, they see this relationship. You're dealing with somebody who's used to having a lot of control, who wants to have control, who likes having control. King of Swords, you know, can be very domineering, very constricting. When it, you know, like with all the tarot, you have a shadow side and you have an exalted side. The King of Swords, exalted, this individual can be extremely honest and very principled, very logical, extremely intelligent, just a real genius in the way that they communicate and all of that. But in the shadow, or when this King of Swords is going through some turmoil, or perhaps like a tower moment, like they see the relationship as a tower and they see themselves in it as King of Swords energy, that can be extremely domineering. This person is not going to accept kind of like the fates working against them. You're dealing with somebody who's a bit of a control freak, Aries. And, you know, listen, you got involved, right? This feels, that's the feeling I have here. Like you're saying to yourself, what did I get myself involved in, you know, with this person? Just because of the, you know, the difference in, you know, ability to really screw each other's lives up. Like you did something, it feels to me like whatever you did to them that they're taking personal, that they're hurt from, that they're reeling from, is something emotional, something of the heart. What they're returning with is something that is physically like impacting your life. You know, they have the means. You're dealing with the King of Pentacles. You're dealing with somebody who's resonating with King energy in a lot of ways. So you're already dealing with someone who, not only are they of that status, do they have that money, right? But they're also arrogant. You know, they're arrogant, and they're arrogant for a reason, you know, to a certain degree, right? If there is such a thing. Hierophant and Judgment. Your final outcomes here. Empress is at the bottom of the deck. Somewhere along the line, I'm hearing somebody got pregnant. There's a child, or there is another deeper responsibility involved that has come out of this relationship that has really brought it into stark relief. For some of you, that world energy, this relationship coming in and feeling like it was meant to be, was because it did produce a child. Or, you know, it produced a child. Some of you, I'm hearing that right away. It produced a child. For some of you, maybe not even a child, but certainly it produced something that is a creative, spontaneous, physical thing that is now has to be nurtured and taken care of. Hierophant energy, Judgment. You are kind of, you know, you might be going back to your sort of teachers and your wise people in your life to help you sort through all of this, because that's that Hierophant energy. You know, Hierophant is definitely going back to your roots, going back to some order and structure in your life to figure out what the next step is. Judgment here for your person, next step, letting go. Let us hope so. I'm going to pull out animal spirits. I want to know what your animal spirit is, what your person's animal spirit is. We're going to be pulling more cards. I want to know what animal spirit you're bringing to this table. Listen, the ultimate Hierophant, Judgment. It's interesting that you should get such major cards coming out as next steps or possible outcomes of this connection at this stage, because it does feel like this connection with this person was very much meant to be. for a reason for you to sort of maybe even guide you back to a place you need to go to. Hierophant can also indicate oftentimes going back to your roots or going back to a place where, you know, the wisdom, the knowledge, the experiences at that you're used to, that you're comfortable with, your culture, your background, your anchor, right? Your rock. And so there's a feeling here that this relationship may have caused that to happen for you when you needed it. Same thing for your person. Even though that they are coming across quite heavy here with all of this, they are also being taught to let go. So it's very much a soul tie. What do we have for you? The bee. Busy bee, air energy. Your person, the panther. No wonder. So panther is definitely associated with tower, right? Panther energy is fire energy. Bee is air energy. With the panther, we're talking about the animal spirit that comes in and just destroys and pounces and causes chaos. But when the dust is settled, you know that you needed that chaos. It's very much in line with tower energy, and this is what your person is going through and dealing with right now. You resonate with bee energy. Now, this might be vice versa, Aries, and that's fine too. But bee energy is very much air, busy, solving things, coming up with solutions. The bee is the one who works for the group. They work in just like the bee in nature is part of a colony. The most important thing for the bee is knowing its place in the group and helping the group. Bee energy, people who resonate with this are people that everyone loves to be around. Everyone loves to be around this space, this person who takes up this kind of space, because they're there for everyone. Very intelligent, very hardworking, very resourceful. Now, these animal spirits may be vice versa indeed. Okay, so take it as it comes, air and fire. All right, now I want to pull out your spirits of darkness and light to see what kind of spirits might be helping this connection, holding this connection back. What flipped over? I have 3 cards exactly flipped over, and that's exactly the amount I usually take. So right away, the first one we have coming in is spirit of intoxication. Watch out for that alcohol. Yeah, intoxication, uninhibited, shameless. Yeah, alcohol is playing a role for some of you. Spirit of the black rose. And this is what I'm talking about. Revenge. That tragic romance, that revenge that comes in. I feel it coming off your person. Like something about this, this connection with this person is definitely, it's a lot. Spirit of air, clarity, awareness, and truth coming in. We had a lot of, I want to say, swords energy here, right? We have King of Swords, 3 of Swords, right? Libra, not really a swords card, but certainly we're talking air energy, and 5 of Swords. And so clarity is coming and spirit of air is there. But spirit of elixir and the spirit of the black rose, these are your shadow energies that are coming into play here. So you want to watch out for that. Absolutely. Don't be drinking with this person. And thinking you're going to smooth everything over or come to some, just watch out, because that spirit of intoxication, when that comes into a reading, it always, it's telling you exactly, watch out for the alcohol. Okay, let's just get one oracle card for you to see what spirit has as far as guidance going forward. And then I'm going to pull out the zodiac cards to see what kind of zodiac signs you guys might be dealing with, Aries. What kind of zodiac energy is this person? I'm going to pull just one oracle card. I don't want to take 2. I want just one. That's the one. What do we have? Cycle. Yeah, there's a cycle here, right? Spirit says there's a cycle. Are you going to break the cycle? It's talking about going around in cycles, being regressed, evolving. Are you going to do the same thing again? You've been in this situation before, Aries. Absolutely, you have. And so Spirit is saying you're finding yourself here again. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to change? How are you going to adjust? Especially with that 9 of Swords energy there, Aries. It's like you're like, what have I gotten myself into? I knew this was going to be like this, right? I knew, like you knew, but you went into it anyway. So it's just kind of like learning your lesson to a certain degree as well, right? All right, let's pull out the zodiac signs. Some of you are dealing with a Taurus. All right, shocker. Taurus is associated with the Hierophant. Taurus energy is also associated with Empress. Some of you are dealing with a Capricorn. More Earth. And some of you, Aries, some of you are dealing with yourself. You're dealing with another Aries, all right? You're showing up in the reading. Aries energy coming up, showing up in your own love reading. I love that. And of course, Capricorn, some of you dealing with that Capricorn, that money maker, and Taurus. Some of you dealing with that bull, that Taurus, right? Taurus energy. Full disclosure, I am a Taurus rising. I love me some Taurus energy. All right, guys. This was the love outlook for Aries. Taking a look into a particular connection that you have with someone in your life and what's going on with that connection right now. Now, remember these messages, they are timeless. So this might resonate for you whenever you come to this reading. For some of you who want to take the next step and really see your compatibility with someone in your life, go ahead and check out my love compatibility report, which you can order on my website, bowandarrowtarot.com. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and play the promo for you right now.